Well, he's just made the mother of all promises. Let's begin. Well, you can tell us an election year, can't you? Because this is a time where, when you look at all MPs in government, you suddenly see a lot more crap come out of their mouth than usual, it seems. And this time is no exception. Unless, of course, he is actually going to carry out this promise, because according to this article, it says that Jeremy Hunt, who may or may not spell his name with a silent C, promises major tax cuts and sends a bold message on the pension triple lock, and said that it's the government's absolute priority to bring down the tax burden for millions of families. Well, Jeremy, that's just the... So, you had an autumn budget last year, you had a budget not so long ago, but if it's your government's absolute priority, you didn't exactly really do that much then. I mean, yes, okay, you cut a few pence off the national insurance level here or there. The thing is, though, the one thing you could do to ease it a bit for us all is actually increase the taxable allowance, because that will get us out of this fiscal drag and mean you can earn more than around 12.5 grand, I think it is, 12,570 if I remember rightly, before, let's face it, the government dips in and helps themselves. So to be honest, Jeremy, you'll forgive me if I'm a teeny weeny little bit sceptical of that. And strangely, listen to this, his upbeat message comes as Rishi Sunak faces one of the most difficult weeks of his premiership. What a coincidence, eh? Who would have thought, that Jeremy would just be standing around saying these things, when at the very same time, Rishi no doubt is probably going, oh, I need some help. I guess it just must be a massive coincidence. So what is going on? Why is it one of his most difficult weeks? Well, apparently, Conservative rebels are plotting to oust him after the local elections on Thursday. And to be honest, I think that is way overdue. Rishi was never voted in at all. Not even a Conservative membership voted him in, and that should not be allowed at all. I know occasionally it does happen, like with Theresa May. But let's face it, she was a bit of a pants Prime Minister, and the same can be said for Rishi. So personally, I think the sooner he's gone, the better. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to suggest anything stupid like Labour should just come in and take over, any crap like that. I personally think Reform might be a bit of a better party to lead. However, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you see it yourself, I don't think they've got any chance at all of that actually happening, because we're in a two-party system. But hopefully, if Reform do actually get a sizable vote, it might make the Conservatives think, perhaps we should start being conservative again, and then get a leader who doesn't appear to be some sort of WEF puppet. But back to the present, the Prime Minister has announced a series of policies, apparently, including on welfare, Rwanda and defence spending, in an attempt to shore up his position. And speaking exclusively to the Daily Express, shameless plug for you there, I've got to be careful how I say this, Hunt struck an optimistic tone as he signalled better days ahead as the economy continues to recover. And in a politically charged interview, the Chancellor also warned that Labour couldn't be trusted with the economy and they have been forced to back pensioners. Well, to be honest, Conservatives, you have been ever since the pandemic, and yes, I know at the start of it, people did need a bit of help, but ever since then, even when it's ended, you basically seem to be chucking money left, right and centre to people, rather than saying, it's actually time you guys went back to the office, it ended a few years ago now. But listen to this, with the latest 2 pence cut to national insurance appearing on millions of workers' pay slips, it's not going to make much difference, is it? From Tuesday, Mr. Hunt suggested that more could be on the way later this year. He goes on and says, it's absolutely our priority to carry on bringing down the tax burden. And we can do that because we have taken very difficult decisions to get our economy back on track. When I became Chancellor 18 months ago, we had inflation at more than 11%. Now, it's fallen to 3.2%. And the International Monetary Fund are saying that we have the fastest growing economy out of France, Germany, Italy and Japan. Well, that last little bit is very good to hear. However, the point he made about when he became Chancellor and how much it had been reduced, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing that more had something to do with the Bank of England actually raising the interest rates. But, what do I know, eh? And probably in a relief to millions of pensioners out there. He also says that, and this puts us in a very good position to start bringing down the tax burden and also protecting pensioners with a triple lock. And those two things together are our top priority. Get this, experts are apparently now predicting that inflation could slide back to the Bank of England's 2% target by next month. The Chancellor said that he would welcome a cut in interest rates from the current 16-year high of 5.25%, but cautioned that it's the bank's decision to do it when they think the time is right. And he says, in his ultimate words of wisdom, what I would say to them even before the interest rates have been cut, living standards are going up. Well, thanks a lot, Jeremy, for that wonderful insight. Although he hasn't finished there, because turning his sights on the opposition, Mr Hunt warned that Labour would undo the economic recovery if they got into government. He says that is now a risk for a future Labour government because they've got no answers to the big challenges we face, he said. They can't be trusted to grow the economy, and I personally think Labour would be an absolute bloody nightmare for our economy. As well, of course, sliding our way back into the EU, which obviously we all voted to leave, and the government and Labour MPs in general just don't seem to get, do they? And, I don't want to hear any crap in the comments saying, oh, but it was only 2%, or that was long ago. The point is we voted for it, whether you Ramonas like that or not, eh? And, don't get me wrong, I don't mean the people who voted Remain but actually respected the result. I mean those Ramonas, the ones who just won't shut up about it and probably have EU flag bed covers or whatever else.